Thank you very much. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It with Inea and Shira. You already know I got another special guest, the beautiful Miss Krista.
Hey y'all.
What's your Instagram?
Hipster Krista.
You heard her. She said Hipster Krista. I'm gonna drop it in a link below, so y'all make sure y'all go follow her. So I'm super excited about this topic. I need you guys to take a paper and a pen out and take some notes because Miss Krista about to put y'all on game. She does Airbnb and she's been very successful at it. She came to my house and she was like, "Oh my God, you need to Airbnb this out because if you don't, I'm gonna fight you." And I was like, I didn't know I could make all this money from it. So let's get into it. How did you start your Airbnb journey? Like, what was the thought process behind saying, all right, like, I want to become an Airbnb host?
Well, actually, my friend, he got me started into Airbnb. But yeah, so when I came back to Atlanta, it was during COVID, like peak COVID season. And I was looking for a job because I didn't want to move back in with my parents. So I was living on hope and a prayer and the $20,000 to pay my rent.
I feel that.
I was in like a studio apartment, like really small, like a true studio apartment. And then I wanted to move into a bigger apartment with a door. And they had a unit available because I hated where I was at. So it was like you can move to the first building and, it's going to be a little bit more for your rent or whatever, but, you'll have a bigger space. So I was like, all right, well, let me just try it. So I bought a couple things, updated my unit a little bit, moved all my stuff into my walk-in closet, like all my personal stuff, and then I had listed it on Airbnb. And then within like the first 6 hours, I think I listed it at like 10 p.m. on like a random Tuesday or something. And then when I woke up the next day at like 6 or 7, it was like 12 a.m. When I woke up at like 6 or 7, I had like $2,500 worth of like people trying to book my place in 6 hours. And this was
I need to hop on Airbnb, y'all.
Well, it's a little different now because everybody and their mama do it, but you can still make money. But that was a time where people weren't really getting into it, so I got in at the perfect time. But yeah, that's why I was like, oh wow, this isn't real. I was like, this really works. So when I saw that $2,500, I was like, bet. So I just like started going to my mom's house on the weekends and opening my place for Airbnb, and that's how I started.
So I don't know anything about Airbnb. So y'all who out there who trying to learn, just be happy for the questions I'm finna ask. So you told me how you got into it. Like you just wanted to make some extra money and you put your apartment on there. Mm-hmm. All right. So getting into it, like, is there a specific way that your apartment looked? Is there like any setup recommendations? Like, okay, make sure you have this. Make sure you take this out the apartment. Like, is there any aesthetics or things that the apartment should have?
Yeah, for sure. And I go through this, and I also host an Airbnb course as well.
Make sure y'all go buy her course. What's your course?
Well, I don't have a link to it, but like I put it on, and then
All right. Well, we gonna make sure
everybody has access.
I'm gonna help her create a link.
Yes,
because she need a link to
Thank
that.
you. But yes, for sure. You definitely don't want to leave anything personal out. No pictures, no diplomas, no prescriptions, anything with your name on it, no mail, any of that. Like all that need to go. Everything. I don't even leave like certain foods out. I remember this made me remember it because I remember when I was in high school, my mom was trying to sell her house, and she left like a recorder device so she can hear what people are saying when they're doing the walk through the house.
That's funny.
And I guess somebody asked like, "Oh, there must be black people that live here." And she was like, "Well, why would you say that?" And they was like, "Oh, well, there's a Hennessy bottle on the bar." So,
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Everybody drink Hennessy.
Every time I like think of like stuff like that, like leaving stuff out, like I always think back to that story because people, of course they're gonna associate Hennessy with black people. I mean, not that plays a huge role in Airbnb, but I just say that to say like anything personal, don't leave it out.
Including your bottles. So put your bottles up.
Put your bottles up. Plus, you don't want people drinking out your bottles.
No. So is there anything that you would recommend you keep, like you actually put into an Airbnb to kind of customize it, make it stand out a little bit more?
Yeah, there's like a whole checklist. Like there's like a whole checklist. But one of the main things I tell people who are doing it, whether you live out of your place or not, or you're just strictly putting it on Airbnb, always have like a supply closet and always make sure it's locked. And not just like a regular lock, like a digital lock. Like, 'cause anybody can pick a lock, but with like the digital locks, like the keypad locks, and they're really cheap. They're like $30, $40 on Amazon. Just make sure you have everything that you don't want people to rummage through or take. Like if you don't want people to go in and just take a free for all and grab all your paper towels and stuff. So that's one of the main things. Also, if you can make your place a smart home in any way, shape, or form, make it as seamless as possible. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Like, I personally, I don't like talking to people, so I try to make my check-in, anything throughout the stay, any questions. I try to avoid questions because I hate when people ask me questions. I hate it. Because it's like...
She said what she said.
Like, read it. I draw everything out, step-by-step directions with pictures. Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm getting started, I have my sign-up page, and I have, the page where people can look at. Is there anything specific you should have on, like, your actual Airbnb, like, page, pictures, like, anything specific?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right.
She said what she said. Do it right.
Do it right. Don't do it if you ain't going to do it right. If you're just trying to make extra cash, it's not that easy. It used to be that easy. It's not that easy anymore. You actually have to...
You got competition.
You actually got to do something. But for sure, make it, clear, concise. And the one thing I tell people, if you don't listen to anything I say and you don't want to spend no money on nothing else, you need to spend money on a professional photographer, for sure. Because pictures make or break a listing. You can have the most beautiful home in the world. Beautiful home. But if you take it on an iPhone... If you take it on an iPhone, it's noticeable, and it's like people are less likely to book because, like, why are you taking it on an iPhone? You got this beautiful house or this beautiful unit, and you taking pictures on an iPhone. It just makes you look unprofessional, and you doing yourself a disservice by just not paying up front for a professional photographer.
So, when it comes to like setting the price, how do you know what price point to put your Airbnb at?
Well, Airbnb helps a lot now because they have this new thing. They roll out like new features like twice a year, and they just rolled out, I think, their winter one. Yeah, their winter one. But last year they rolled out like compared to other listing pricing. So when you're setting your prices, they'll literally say compared to other listings, you should list your property in this range, and they have a whole,
and it's accurate.
It's accurate. You can literally click on the listing and then it'll take you to that direct listing. And then they still have the app, the platform called AIRBNB, and it literally is just nothing but analytics for Airbnb. About your competition, what other prices are listed at, what's their occupancy rate for other listings near you, people's ratings.
So I feel like when you're first starting out, it's always scary because like you got 0 stars, you don't have anything, and then you go against these people that have 5 stars and they're like super hosts. Like, how do you compete with those kind of people?
For me personally, when I first started, I would never look. If I am looking, I try not to look a lot because it can be discouraging. But I got 5 stars too. So it's one of those things where like nobody's ever gonna be 100% happy. I mean, it's also helpful too. Like I said, you compete against them because you literally take from them.
Yeah.
Why not? It's there. Why not use it to your advantage? Take it and make it better. And then also like when I first started, I would never look at it because like they not me.
Yeah.
And as long as my place getting booked,
yeah, you
good. But it's more so you have to find your hot spot. Whether because you could have 2 units right next to each other, and it's actually happening where I'm at currently. I bought a house earlier this year, and the house there's 4 Airbnbs on.
You bought a house?
Yeah.
How many properties do you own?
I only own one.
How many places you got?
Right now, I only have 2. The most I had at one time was like 4, but I was like co-hosting with the guy I was dating at the time.
How many places Ashley got?
She only Airbnbs 1, but she owns like 4 or 5 properties.
Black, excellent.
She's an inspiration.
Black women being excellent.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's amazing. That's
I'll be trying.
How old are you?
29.
If you're only 29, you're doing a motherfucking thing. Inspiration.
Thank you. I don't feel like it sometimes, but no, I appreciate that.
I just made a video on that today about like it's easy because I be feeling the same way. Like I think that I'm actually pretty successful when I look at the grand scheme of like my accomplishments and who I am and where I am in life. But like I'll be feeling the same way. Like damn, I'm really not doing nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's like we really be top tier.
We feel like
we're really top tier for real.
It's crazy because me and my friend group had this conversation all the time, and like we literally have to like remind ourselves like we are different in a sense because it's just like I for me personally I'm really hard on myself, and I feel like right now I feel like I'm stagnant, and when I get to that point I'm like all right, it's time to turn up. And then when I'm turned up and I'm doing so many things at once, people like you need to calm down, you need to take a break. But
no, mind your business.
Yeah, right. But it's also hard to like kind of get out of your own mind because I still don't think I'm like I know I'm doing good for myself, but I'm like I personally feel like I should be way further along in life than I am.
Yeah, and I think that's a healthy mindset to have as far as like we're doing good, but it's like we feel like we could be doing so much better because there's so many people who celebrate in the club every weekend. It's like you don't got shit to show for it, and it's like 6, 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years down the line, you ain't gonna have shit to show for nothing because you're not focused. And you got people like us that's actually focused and we grinding and we feel like we're not doing enough or we're not really hitting our goals or like, it's just not showing the results yet that we really want to see. But we really out here grinding and doing a damn thing. I think it says a lot about your character when it's like you grinding and you like, damn, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even doing enough. Let me go harder. Like it's that lion mentality that's going to get you everything you want. Yeah,
like this year I felt
because when I walked into your house, I was like,
"Don't do that."
I said, "Oh my motherfucking god!"
Podcast crying.
That's when you just came in here. You was like, "It's so beautiful." And I'm like,
"No, this is a really nice place." Like when I walk into a place, I always have like the mind of like, "Okay, what can I do with this?" Like I can literally walk into a empty place. It could be, somebody who's a hoarder. I can literally see the vision, and I can see like a vision here is, especially like with the surroundings, with making money. And I tell myself I would never live.
What could I do different here to like if I was going to put this apartment on Airbnb? What could I do different to like
make it a thing? Themes are like huge on Airbnb now. I don't know why. But you can't just get by with just a nice apartment anymore. Like even the high rises. Don't get me wrong, the high rises do really well. But themes.
Like when you say themes, what do you mean? Because this is what comes Spider-Man.
That's do a Spider-Man theme.
Like, but what do you mean by theme? I know you don't
do a Spider-Man theme. Like anything. So like I do really well with boho. So
okay. Yeah, I love boho styles.
But like the actual house, I don't know if you saw it. It's actually like boho with plants and shit. But I have like a bitches taking pictures wall in all of my properties. You gotta have like it's an accent.
So that mean like you got like a wall where people take pictures at?
Yeah, it's like, and you don't have to take pictures, but a wall that stands out, like an accent wall. It could just be a plain black wall. It could be a wall with like a whole bunch of pictures on it. It could be a wall with the grass wall. Bitches love grass walls. So I have one in my backyard.
You finna kill me with
I literally call it the bitches taking pictures wall. You have to have a bitches taking pictures wall. And the apartment, there's really technically not one, but you have that huge mirror. That's the bitches taking pictures wall.
That's funny. Yeah. I can see how that would stand out because people like to do photo shoots and everything. Give me a photo shoot. If you got a good background, it's going just, all right, photo shoot time.
And it can be a photo shoot. It can be, they come in there to celebrate for a birthday weekend, but it's a wall that they can take pictures on. And I guarantee, I used to have a grass wall in my most profitable unit ever. It was a 1-bedroom. Love that place. I love that place. If I could buy it, I would. And because my rent was only like $1,400.
I missed those
and I actually was profiting $3,500 a month average. On a good month, 4,042. Not 40. I'm sorry, $4,200 on a very good month, and then like on a bad month, I would probably bring in $2,700.
That's a bad month.
That was a bad month. I was making buku money.
I wonder what a bad month would be here.
A bad month here, just based off your location, would probably the lowest, the absolute worst case scenario. Like you got 2 bookings or 3 bookings, you break even, but you ain't gotta pay rent for the month. And that's if you literally only list it for like that's like maybe 4 or 5 days out of the month, you can break even.
Damn. Don't be giving me no ideas, man.
Now, knock on wood, I've never had a month where I haven't profited anything. I always profit. Even if it's like I have a property, which I really thought was going to be like my most profitable property. Crazy. The worst. It wasn't the worst property, but I didn't make a lot of money. I literally broke even. I'm probably, for the whole year, I probably profited maybe $2,000. It was terrible.
So what's the most you made in 1 year in Airbnb?
1 year? It's weird because I had like a couple different profiles because I did like I had a co-host, the guy that got me into Airbnb. We did a partnership with my most profitable property. But year to date, I probably made maybe 50 to 60,000.
That's what listen, if you make under $50,000, you better get an Airbnb because it ain't. I'm not talking out on anybody because everybody is where they are. You working your way up. But if you can make $50,000 in Airbnb, y'all better go get the Airbnb.
Yeah, and just a caveat, like you don't make 50,000. You make 50,000. You don't profit 50,000. So you have to take into consideration like rent and everything. So maybe after all that stuff paid out, because actually like when I had to do my taxes, I probably made profited maybe 25,000.
But think about it like this:
30,000, depending on
what you make anyways right now. You don't make all that money because you still got all your expenses. You still got your bills that you got to pay. So it's the same concept.
Right. And when I say that, like, if I continued with that same exact property and I never moved, because I could have profited. Like, probably if I would have stayed in the same exact property where my two most profitable properties, and I never moved out and I just kept them going, I probably would be profiting close to like 40 bands. The only reason I didn't is because I was moving out into different properties. I bought a house. I had to buy furniture because I originally would only do 1 bedrooms, and then when I moved into a 2 bedroom, you got to buy more furniture, and then if you want to do a different theme, you have to take into consideration that stuff. So of course, it's a big investment up front, but literally, I'm not even kidding. When I moved into one of my apartments, I probably invested like maybe $4,000 to $5,000, and I was able to make that back in like 2 months, 2.5 months at max. So you'll make the money back quick. That's the good thing about Airbnb. You will literally make your money back quick. If you do it right.
Let's just give her a little clap, cause we proud of her. Yeah, we clapping for Black excellence. Yeah.
You're funny.
All right, so if you can give our listeners one piece of advice from Airbnb and one piece of advice as an entrepreneur, what would your advice be?
For Airbnb specifically, do it right. Don't take shortcuts. You're gonna pay for them every time.
That's in life, baby.
That's in life, but for real. And then money is time, and money is literally time in Airbnb. So I would honestly say probably money is time. Time is of the essence. And I was like,
are you never scared like the leasing agents are going to like find you?
I was at first, but then
I think a lot of people are scared like
the
leasing agents are going to get me and I'm going to get an eviction. And
learn from my mistakes. Before, that's why I said I got in at a really good time, because before Airbnb became a thing and everybody was getting them and then destroying properties and all the BS, I had one property where my neighbor, he was telling me, my leasing office never knew about it. The maintenance guy knew about it. He liked me, so he never said anything. But the leasing office never knew about it. But my neighbor would literally say, hey, like, he was like, there's 3 white girls in her apartment right now. And I'm like, He just hate, and they weren't allowed. I never had any parties at that property or nothing. He just didn't like the fact that I was doing Airbnb, and he was the only person in the hallway with a Ring camera. So my leasing office called me and was like, "Hey, like, we got wind that you're doing Airbnb." I'm like, "No, I'm not." It was like, "We have proof." I said, "Okay, send me the proof. Send me the proof." Because there's laws and regulations and rules that, you know, apartments can't like have a camera facing directly or on your apartment, and the only thing they could go off is his word.
Yeah.
So he was the only one with a Ring camera, and he was like, "We have a video of, you know, you walking with a suitcase and people coming to your apartment." I said, "Okay." I said,
what does that mean?
Right. And I literally tell people, I was like, "You're literally going to have to bring the SWAT team to my door for me to stop. You're going to have to bring the SWAT team." And the problem is, apartments, it's very hard, if you do it right, it's very hard for apartments to prove that you do Airbnb without doing something illegal on their end. They would literally have to physically enter your apartment without your permission or without your knowledge and catch you. And that actually happened to the guy that I was dealing with at the time. He had got an apartment in Buckhead, but it's his fault because he didn't listen to me. He listened to some girl he worked with who's never done Airbnb in a day in her life, and he prematurely listed the listing. He got caught before his first guest checked in.
Why?
He first of all, he didn't change his name. He didn't change, like, there's certain things that you can do with your listing to not get caught if you plan on doing it in an apartment. And the apartment doesn't allow it. Some apartments allow it now. Or you know, people would find the loophole of corporate leasing, but they caught on to that too. But he got caught because he didn't listen to me, and I was like, "Hey, I'll finish your listing after you get off of work." And he went to work. She put a Bible verse at the end of the listing. I'm like, "What?
A Bible verse?
What? Don't do that. Like, don't do anything that would, you know, make people think that you have like a certain, you know, religion or anything. Like, keep it as neutral as possible.
You're professional.
But yeah. Long story short, he got caught, and they tried to hit him with an $11,000 bill. $11,000. I was like, "You're not paying that." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You're not paying that." I was like, "How did they know that's your listing?" He was like, "Well, they said they had proof." I said, "Tell them to." I literally told him. He didn't listen to me either. He just refused to listen to me. And then after the fact, he was like, "I should listen to you." But he never had to pay it. But I was like, "Tell them to send you the proof. If they can physically send you proof that that's your listing and it's your apartment is connected to you, then tell them you'll pay the $11,000. I said, literally tell them that. I guess they replied back and said, allegedly, if someone in the leasing office booked your Airbnb. I said, "Okay." I said, reply back, "How did you check in? What was the check-in instructions?" If that was the case. They couldn't do that. So he ended up getting, like, paying for a lawyer or whatever. One of those, like, $50 lawyers or whatever.
Not the $50 lawyer.
Yeah. But I was like, you didn't even have to do that. Because if they did enter his apartment, because they probably did know it was him. It's not hard to figure out who does Airbnb. But until they can actually prove it, and the only way that they would be able to prove it is because I was like, "Look at your emails. Did they do any, like, maintenance, fire inspections, any maintenance things where they said, 'Hey, we're going to enter your apartment during these dates,' et cetera, et cetera." Not one happened during that time. So I was like, for them to know they had to literally illegally enter your apartment when they figured out that you were doing Airbnb, they probably saw your listing, they figured it out, and then they knew where you weren't there, and they probably entered your apartment without your knowledge, because, you know, they still have the keys and stuff to your apartment. And I said, that's probably how they figured it out. So they have the proof, but how do they know that?
Right.
Because now if you show me the proof and you have, like, pictures and stuff of my listing in my actual apartment, when we go to court, and that's why you gotta use the word lawyer, then you have to now they gonna be in hot shit because you entered my apartment without my knowledge.
Wow. Interesting. Man, all I'm going to say is she just gave y'all some real game.
Free game.
Like some free game. And that's not even all of it.
Oh, that's not even all of it.
That's probably not even half of it. So like I said, we're going to put this course together. Well, you said you already got the course, so I'm going to help her actually make a link for it. You know what I'm saying? And y'all follow her Instagram because I'm going to make sure she put that link on her Instagram. So thank you for sharing this knowledge with me. You have inspired me.
Shoot, your place inspired me. We can make some money. I came in here and saw dollar signs. Like, wait a minute now. You holding on to this?
Well, thank you. I'm very blessed. And, you know, I'm saying the universe has treated me right. So, anyways, thank you guys for tapping in with us. Please go back and watch this video as many times as you need to. Anytime we start in something new, it's always scary. But like she said, don't focus on the competition. Don't focus on nobody around you but yourself. Get to work, get busy, and make that money.
I will say that one thing I will say, do it. Just do it.
I always say, just like what? Wait, Nike? Like Nike?
I got my Nike steps on.
Oh, you got your Nike? Yeah.
You literally gotta just do it. Because I was scared at first, and then it was just like one of those things where I was like, fuck it.
Fuck it. What's the worst that can happen?
Right. Like, nobody wants an eviction, but like I said, if you do it right and you know, learn from my mistakes. Don't, now that you have a person that's been through it and done it, I literally learned from trial and error. And I'm not just trying to, you know, make some extra money. Like, literally learn from my mistakes, because those mistakes can cost you $11,000.
Yeah.
If he would have listened to me, he literally would have never even got hit with that bill. He would have never got his lease terminated, and they didn't evict him. They just terminated his lease, and then that's a win-win.
Yeah,
like, you out of a lease, and he got first month free. So
yeah, that is a win. All right, well, y'all make sure y'all follow Miss Krista, the hipster. What is it, Krista Hipster?
Hipster Krista.
Oh, Hipster Krista on Instagram. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, because I'm going to continue to bring people on that's going to drop that knowledge, and I'm going to continue to come on here and drop some knowledge for y'all, because that's what we need across the board. All right. Anyways, until next time, we will see you soon.